Auto Club Speedway is the premier motorsports facility in Southern California. Built on the site of the former Kaiser Steel Mill in Fontana in 1996-1997 at a cost of $100 million. The track has 84,000 permanent seats and is home to a NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity Series race each spring. Constructed by the Penske Corporation as a clone to Michigan Speedway, the track was originally known as California Speedway. It was later purchased by ISC, which subsequently sold its naming rights to the Automobile Club of Southern California in 2008. In addition to a high-banked oval, Auto Club Speedway features several road course configurations, which have been used for sports car and motorcycle races, as well as an infield track used for testing purposes. Given its proximity to Hollywood, the track has also appeared in scores of movies, television shows, and commercials. But tonight, it's the Howell Graphics Auto Club 100, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Auto Club Speedway for tonight's Howell Graphics Auto Club 100 Lonestar Racing Truck Series Season number 3. Happy to be back here, getting ready for it tonight. Qualifying actually already underway. Let's take a look at the details here. 67 degrees Fahrenheit outside ambient temperature, 55% humidity, clear skies, barely any breeze at 2 miles per hour. Track temperature, 102 degrees and 100 laps to settle it here tonight. Let's not waste any time. We'll go right down trackside and see where the drivers are lining up here in qualifying. We look at Drew Blaze with a fresh paint scheme. Right now, Blaze fastest on the track thus far. .720 the quick time for Blaze as he loses the top spot to the 29 of Heath Snyder, goes 40.68. Derek Welch, a 40.879 his first time by. Ooh, a little wiggle out of 4. .021 that second lap. A little slower due to that mistake out of turn number 4 for Derek Welch. Dominic Rossi on the track, the number 4 machine. Well, it's the number 4 in the timing tower. Looks like it's an 11 on the truck. First race of the season for these guys. Hopefully we can get the number situation squared away. But until then, we'll just call it out how we see it. 11 on the door, 4 in the timing tower. 40.716 for Rossi. Goes outside front row. John Timms, a 41.070 the first lap. The top 3, Snyder, Rossi, and Blaze. Justin Johnson 4th. Chris Watkins in the 5th spot. Meanwhile, the 66 of Sean Roberts jumps up into the 13th position. Edward Marshall on his first lap goes P1, 40.674 for the number 16. Marshall way up the racetrack. He still got his foot in it. I don't know if he had to lift there to stay off the safer barrier. Down the backstretch into turn number 3. He still got his foot down. Let's see if he can improve. Only got the pole now by 1/100th of a second over the 29 of Snyder. Second lap for Marshall, 40.651. He does go faster. A little bit of breathing room there at the top of the board, and that's going to wrap up qualifying just like that. It's over and done with. Well, with that said, we're going to jump right to it. Take a look at our starting grid for tonight's Howell Graphics Auto Club 100, the Lonestar Racing Truck Series, season number 3, race number 1. On the pole with a lap time of 40.651 seconds, it is the number 16 of Edward Marshall. Outside front row, out of Ohio, 34 thousandths of a second shy. It's Heath Snyder in the number 29. Row number 2, Chris Goins in the 41 with Right Turn Racing. Dominic Rossi in the 4, starts 4th. Row number 3, it's the 1 of Drew Blaze and the 10 of Justin Johnson. Starting 7th, Chris Watkins in the 5. 8th, Kevin Grettenberger, the number 57. Starting in the 9th spot, Chris Klein with NTRL. He'll start with his number 51 in the 9th position. Brandon Domain starts 10th in the 13th. Derek Welch, the 01, he'll roll from P11. 12th goes to PJ Cox. Starting 13th, Andy Sizemore, the Iceman himself. Then Sean Roberts starting 14th. Reed Sanders, the number 21, starting 15th. Ken Couch starts in the 16th spot. John Timms, the number 77, he'll start 17th. 18th goes to Scott Beardmore, the number 28. 19th starter, the number 52 of Tim Tokarski, and 20th, Jared Haynes. Ryan Shepard starts in the 21st spot. Mitchell Howell, the number 93, he'll roll from P22. The 12 of Kyle Morrison out of Michigan, he'll start 23rd. 24th goes to Randy Coaching, the number 19. 25th is Tim Stubblefield, the number 92. He'll start in that 25th position. Ken Blackburn, the 155, he'll start 26th. Shotgun on the field, a familiar name, the number 43 of Jonathan Arnn. It's your starting grid for the Howell Graphics Auto Club 100. Field just starting to roll as we speak. Already someone in the stream chat. It's Matt Sisler, speaking of familiar names. Says, gutted that I have to work tonight. Can't race this series this year, but glad I can tune in and watch. We appreciate you being here, Matt. Field working off of turn number 2. Before we take the green flag, should be 1 formation lap before we get underway. Possibly 2. We have seen in this series they don't hesitate to throw an extra lap into the mix here if the field isn't formed up as they needed to be. Field working turn 4. Looks like we will get a green flag this time by. Pace car lights are off. Pace car pulls down pit lane. Barney the flag man with the green in hand. Green flag waves. We're underway from Auto Club Speedway. Got somebody loose through 1 and 2 already. Do they gather it back up? They does. We keep it under the green flag miraculously. I think it might have been the 29 machine. Trying to track down the 29 machine. There doesn't appear to be one here in the timing tower. We'll have to verify that. Lap 1 in the books. Lap 1 on the season. Ed Marshall's going to lead it. Second is Dominic Rossi. Chris Goins up to 3rd. Healthy field of trucks here tonight at Auto Club. Bunch of new names in this series that we didn't see last season in the Cup side. Good to see LSR still very healthy. Marshall starting to stretch it out here, almost a half second over the 4. Rossi with Goins in behind, a 10th and a half off his tailgate. a question in the stream chat. Jake the Snake asking what number the Iceman is in. I'm a co-worker of his. Well, in the timing tower, I think that was Sizemore we were talking about. It shows the number 27. Let's take a look at it, and indeed that is the case. The number 27 Sizemore Auto Parts machine. Sizemore running back in the 14th position currently. Sizemore with Brian Shepard in the number 88 to the outside. Just ahead of them, it's the one of Derek Welch. Little early for pit stops, but we are 6 laps in, so we can at least talk about it. 60% fuel load, that's the maximum capacity that they're able to run here in this particular race. 2 sets of tires available over the wall, plus the ones they start the race on. Drew Blaze up into the 3rd spot. He's on the move, up a couple of positions already here in just 7 laps. Started in P5. He's taking the spot from Chris Goins. Goins drops back to P4. Brandon Domain into the top 5. He's made up a lot of spots already, 5 to be exact. Started 10th. Trying to check on here who it was that might have lost it early on. I'm going to go with Heath Snyder here. He's showing the number 29 on the side and the tower, so that's a plus. We got that one squared away. Finally found it. Snyder doing a great job to save that truck on the opening lap. I think it was on a turn number 2, middle of 1 and 2. Truck got all sideways in front of traffic, and I don't think anybody made contact with him because the truck looks pretty clean for the time being. Snyder back in the 20th position after starting, I think it was outside front row. Shepard diving down to the bottom here, trying to get a run on Derek Welch. Welch in the NTG number 1, the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro up in the top lane. Meanwhile, change for the lead out in front. Rossi's going to slide on by. Maybe a crossover coming from Marshall. Remember, Rossi's going to show number 4 in the timing tower, number 11 on the door. Laps in, change for the lead, and we got Drew Blaze coming up, trying to take the 2nd spot away from the 16 of Marshall. Blaze coming in out of nowhere. We've seen Drew Blaze many a time not get a great start to these races, kind of start kind of sluggish and very quickly, or slowly for that matter, come into the mix. But now, only 11 laps in, he's pulling a China shot here, challenging for the 2nd spot and all over the back bumper of our leader, Rossi. Rossi maintaining the top spot. Blaze not quite clear of Marshall. Now he is down into turn 1. Chris Goins closing in on Marshall as well, trying to take the spot away, as for some reason iRacing is reloading all the paints for us. That's okay, at least we know they're fresh. Down into turn 3, Chris Goins taking a look on Drew Blaze while Blaze is taking a look for the lead. Drops to the bottom. Good looking paint scheme on the Drew Blaze machine. It's a variation of the no bowl paint scheme. Blaze with the nose out in front, doesn't get clear, not just yet. Way up the racetrack goes the 11 of Rossi. Gets the run out of the corner. Thought about doing the crossover. He certainly has some pace down the backstretch. He's going to take a peek looking down into turn number 3 here. Couple more in the stream chat. Jessica Stubblefield, go Stubbs. We got Corey D saying bye-bye Blaze. Not just yet. Chris Goins on the charge. 3 wide for the lead here. Coming to the stripe to put lap 14 on the board. Chris Goins rockets to the lead. Gets by 2 for 1 special into turn number 1. Chris Goins, your new leader. Can he keep it? Blaze with the high line. He's going to have the run out of 2. Justin Johnson under pressure also. He's got the 13 of Brandon Domingue breathing down his neck. Meanwhile, out in front, Chris Goins going to make it official at the stripe. Drew Blaze still all over that tailgate of the number 41 AgentDotson.com truck. Matt Sisler says, great move by Goins. Back and forth, these 3 drivers swapping positions. Goins still with the lead, but Rossi putting the charge on Blaze, was alongside, middle of 3 and 4, tucks back in behind down the backstretch. Top 3, Goins, Blaze, and Rossi. Blaze seems to have pace in certain parts of the racetrack. Goins pulls away in the others. Different number on the Chris Goins machine. Used to seeing it in the number 28. Not the case here this week. It's got the 41 on it. And honestly, I kind of like the 41 on that machine. 28 belongs to Scott Beardmore, and he is currently in pit lane. Blaze taking a peek to the bottom once again. Just trying to stay in the mirror of Chris Goins, I think. Marshall hitting pit lane, 18 laps in already, making the opportunity. So Ed Marshall. Can't imagine he's going to take tires here. Again, with only 2 sets available over the wall. 100-lap race, we're only 18 in. Marshall slides to a stop in the box. Again, pole position here tonight. He is going to take right sides, though. It's going to be a 4-tire change here as well. 4 tires and fuel. PRSSetups.com, number 16. He's down and away. Good stop, 14.72 seconds. going to lose a lap, though. If a caution comes out, he's going to be in trouble. But then again, he might be the only car a lap down, or is he? No, Scott Beardmore. Chris Goins still with the lead out of turn number 2. You got to wonder if he's burning up his stuff, staying ahead of Drew Blaze. His Blaze all over the tailgate of the 41 into 3. Goins up the racetrack. Drew Blaze dropping it down to the bottom here. We'll see if he can make the run out of 2. Goins is going to have the run. Blaze trying to decide to stay alongside or go tuck back in behind. He's going to stick it out, give it a shot here into turn 3. Out of turn number 4, Blaze has the lead for now, but it looks like Chris Goins on the attack trying to take it back. He does. It's going to be Goins at the line with the race lead. The back and forth continues for the top spot. Continue to watch this battle go on as Justin Johnson's worked himself up into the 3rd position. Still battling with Chris Watkins for that. Says 16 of Marshall starting to roll through on his fresh rubber. Let's take a look at the differential here. Goins' last lap of 42.68. Marshall's last lap, 40.81. So tires very important here. And Chris Goins and Drew Blaze both going to come down pit lane here. Lap 21. Again, we saw Marshall take tires on that first stop. I don't know if I would have done that. Again, only 2 sets to work with. He's got 1 set of tires to use the rest of the race. 77 laps to go. That's a ways. Gonna have to be careful how he splits those up. We'll see if these guys do the same. Maybe I'm just wrong. That very well could be the case. I'm not much of a strategist. Chris Goins slides into the box. Has to back it up. That's terrible. He's gonna lose a ton of track position here under green flag conditions. Looks like fuel only for the 41. Same for Drew Blaze. 9.27 seconds down and away. Chris Watkins now coming down as the race leader. Looking at the pit stops, most of the drivers opting for fuel only, a couple taking tires. It was Marshall, of course, we saw do that early on. Brandon Domain, I think, took tires as well. PJ Cox, Kevin Grettenberger, Brian Shepard, Mitchell Howell, Andy Sizemore. Honestly, it's more guys than not that took tires. Kind of surprises me. It's a big gamble. If we run this thing all the way to the end without a caution, that's a huge gamble because the lap time differential from new to old is pretty significant. Derek Welch, fuel only. So Drew Blaze up into the 3rd spot. Ed Marshall with his fresh rubber. He went from a lap down to P2, and it didn't take very long to do it. And just as quick as he was a lap down, Marshall's back to the lead. Remember, Marshall started on the pole position. Really pushed hard those early stages of this race. May have just kind of changed those tires as a matter of necessity. Don't know if he just burned them up. Still might have been premature. Could have just been a matter of overheating them. In many cases, you can get the tires too hot and they'll feel like they're just wore out. You're running out on ice on that truck. If you just give them an opportunity to cool down, granted that's difficult to do when you're at speed. Really curious to see how this one's going to work out for Marshall here. Again, only one set of tires left for the rest of the race. Again, last lap for Marshall, a 41.62. Drew Blaze, again, still on old tires, a 42.45. Considering the old tires, not a bad lap. So Kyle Landon might have had an issue on the track. He's already in the pits. Let's get a look at it. Is he trying to get to pit road or just missed his braking point entirely? He's going to stop here in the Geico restart zone or just past it. Go straight to pit lane. Tough to say what that was about. And we have a caution. Lap 26, first yellow of the day. I don't see anything significant that could have put us under this yellow. Jonathan Arn was just leaving the pits. I don't know if this has anything to do with it or not. Arn leaving the pits. Jonathan typically runs this number 43, but he's got the full scale Petty livery on it. Looks like the 84 livery, pretty sharp. Let's see what happens as he leaves the pits. Does he have an issue? Doesn't appear like there was any sort of problem. Tough to say. Don't know what put us under this first caution of the season, for that matter, but nevertheless, we're under yellow for the first time here in the Howell Graphics Auto Club 100. Ed Marshall through the pit cycle. This has fallen right into his hands. Gives him a chance to run around under pace speed and take care of those tires. Just finished up our cycle of green flag stops. Can't imagine anybody's going to take an opportunity here, maybe just to top off the tanks. Seems to be the case. Maybe have some guys that might second guess their pit strategy on fuel only. We'll see. We'll watch Drew Blaze. We know for sure that he was fuel only. So was Chris Gones. Blaze in the box. And it stays on the ground. Same for Chris Gones. So fuel only for these guys, just topping off. Again, no need to change tires so soon. But with that said, we're going to jump out and get our first break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Auto Club Speedway, pace car pulling out of turn 4 down the pit lane. First restart of the season. Ed Marshall's going to lead them down. The green flag waves, and we're back underway. Marshall with a big jump here, gets right out in front early on. Half-second advantage over Drew Blaze already. Scramble of trucks in behind the lead here. Battle for second. Chris Watson underneath Drew Blaze, and the 13 of Brandon Domain trying to roll through. Chris Goins in the 6th position, but not for long. Again, you got some guys out there with fresh tires, some guys that have kept the original set in favor of keeping a couple over the wall for later on in the race. Personally, I think that's the strategy here. Just hang on to what you got for a little bit, suffer the consequences early on, and worry about making up the ground later. Wide. Chris Goins back into the 9th spot now, losing track position still. There's only a few guys out in front of him that have taken tires. Granted, this was on that last stop, so there might have been some guys, some takers that took tires on the first round under the green flag. Oh, almost contact with Goins in the 88 of Brian Shepard. Goins now looking to his outside. Shepard might have slid up, almost gets into the back of Drew Blaze. Blaze has lost a lot of ground as well. Remember, he was up in that top 3 at the restart. It's going to be a challenge for these drivers on old tires, but you just got to be able to put up with it. Very well could be a pretty good payoff later on when you still have an extra set when you need it. And those that pit early for those tires do not. Continuing to watch this battle, Drew Blaze and Chris Goins as the 88. Brian Shepard goes down to the bottom. Meanwhile, Chris Watkins is taking over the top spot over Marshall. Watkins likely with some fresher tires. He just topped off for fuel lap 27. Remember, Marshall was one of the first to come down pit lane under green flag conditions, took tires, so they're starting to wear out. Marshall's last lap of 41.67. Watkins about 3.5 tenths faster than that. Is Mitchell Howell also attacking? He's trying to take this second spot from Ed Marshall. Right on board with Ed Marshall as he runs into 3rd position. And just like that, Brandon Domain has closed the gap less than a truck length off the back bumper of Marshall. Marshall drives it in a little bit deeper than Domain. May have the run out of the corner already, closing in. Some momentum on his side. Going to take a look to the left. See if he's got enough to go into turn number 3 here and take the spot. Marshall now slips back to 4th, but he's going to try and power back around the outside. Brandon Domain's got him clear, though, at the stripe. He's up in the third spot. Marshall still with a run, a little bit of a draft as well. Certainly going to put some drafting to work here at Auto Club with these trucks punching such a giant hole in the air. I swear you can get a draft at the LA Coliseum in these things. Fifth position, it's the 05 of PJ Cox. It's a familiar name if you're a regular here with Lonestar Racing. PJ certainly, through the course of the season, is getting better and better and faster. Here he is running in the top 5. He's up 7 spots, started 12th today. And Heath Snyder still working up the comeback, so to speak. First lap incident, didn't hit anything, lost a ton of ground. Finds himself just outside the top 5 now with the 57 of Kevin Grettenberger, the Whataburger machine. And Kevin's got my favorite paint so far as he slides up the racetrack and open the door for the 29 once again. Heath Snyder seems like the type that can accidentally, or intentionally for that matter, force you to chew up your stuff while maintaining his. Got to run your own races. The 77 slides up the track just a bit. That's John Timms. Sponsorship available on that machine. Tim's running solidly within the top 10 in the 8th position. Having a good solid run here today. Actually, now he's up into the 7th spot if he can get clear of Grettenberger. Tim started back in the 17th spot today. Chris Watkins has jumped out to a full 2.5 lead over the 93 of Mitch Howell. Watkins really laying down some good laps here, continuing to extend his lead now over the 13 of Brandon Domain as he just takes that 2nd spot from the 93 of Mitchell Howell. Brandon Domain certainly moving and grooving here at Auto Club Speedway. Now Mitch Howell, on the other hand, he did make his first pit stop at lap 21. Prior to the caution. It's the only stop he's made thus far. And it looks to be with his lap time, his pit time. He did take the tires, but it looks like he just gets a piece of the outside wall there out of turn 4. We'll look at the right side of that truck as he comes on by. See what kind of damage, if any, he's got. We certainly saw the sparks fly. Howell seemingly having some handling issues on that machine. Marshall closes in, looking to the inside. I don't know, I gotta say that the impact didn't seem severe, but it seems to be affecting that truck significantly. Maybe it was just a matter of regrouping. Snyder looking back to the inside, looking racy again. He's going to try and get 2 out of this. Gets the 93. Trying to take the 16 as well. As we continue to watch this battle here, this is for about the third position. Marshall's got it for now, but the deficit from Watkins to Domain, that's first and second, starting to shrink slightly. It was over a second and a half just a lap or two ago, and it's starting to get smaller and smaller lap by lap. We also may be approaching some new pit stops here, depending on strategies that these guys are going to be playing with. Remember, Marshall was one of the first to come down early on. I think it was about lap 17 or 18 that he opted to come down and took tires. Watkins doing a good job at managing the gap here as he's keeping it right at about a second and a half. Got some guys in pit lane. Mitchell Howell just leaving his pit stall. 10.03 seconds. It was either fuel only or right sides. Jared Haynes just leaving, 14.53 seconds, a good stop. 4 tires and fuel, it would appear. Brandon Domain has closed the gap once again. It was a second and a half just a moment ago. Now it's 1.2. I don't know if Watkins encountered some lap traffic or had a mistake. Domain is closing in rapidly. Ed Marshall now in pit lane. We talked about when he may come down. His first stop was at lap 17. Here he is, lap 47, with a caution flag in the middle of all of that as well. Now I want to see if Marshall's going to take tires or not on this stop. This would be his final set if he does. My gut's going to tell me fuel only, but we'll see what happens. Locks up the rears on entry. Stays on the ground. It's going to be fuel only for the number 16. Waiting. 8.6 seconds. He's down and away. Fuel only. Slips the tires a bit on exit. Almost kills the pace car. And Chris Watkins is going to go by and lap Marshall. And now Marshall's going to have a heck of a time here trying to hang in there. Again, he doesn't have the fresh tires as an advantage that he had in the first round of pit stops. He was able to drive on by, get the lap back on his own. Then as the rest of the field cycled through their pits, he was able to retake the top spot. We'll see if that happens this time through. We're 48 laps in, just about to hit 49 as Watkins approaches start-finish. Brandon Domain down pit lane. Let's watch it from his perspective as he slowly travels down the pit road. Looking for the box. Pit board number 13. Where is it? There it is. Not an aggressive entry. Some guys really push the limits. You run the risk of a mistake if you do that, but you also can gain a bunch of time. Domain fuel only, down and away. Finishes his stop. We got Tommy Welch in the stream chat. Let's go, NTR crew. Chris Watkins still with the lead. He might put Domain a lap down here. Indeed, he will. So the question is, does Watkins come down pit road this time or next? Looks like it's going to be this time. Race leader down pit road. Just about halfway here from Auto Club Speedway. Looks like a lot of the drivers are going to follow him down. Heath Snyder stays on the track to lead a lap, but it's going to be Watkins, John Timms, Kevin Grettenberger, PJ Cox, Sanders, Shepard, Sizemore, Gones, Johnson, Blaze, all these guys under the green flag coming down pit road. So let's see here if Watkins takes tires. Fuel only for the 5. Saving a set. Chris Gones just slide into his box. Has to back it up again. Overshoots the pit box. Don't beat yourself. We say it so often. Green flag conditions, and Gones goes a little too deep in the stall. Has to back it up. It's going to cost him some time. 16.3 second stop. Cost him a couple of seconds. At 190 miles an hour, that is a significant amount of track position, but he is down back in the racetrack here. Lap 52, and we're going to jump out, get an HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Auto Club Speedway, 56 laps complete. Chris Watkins back to the lead after the cycle of pit stops. Brandon Domain cycling back to the second position, only 0.8 of a second back. Remember, it was 1.5 before the pits. Domain made his stop at lap 48, Watkins lap 50. Distance to P2 still 0.8 as we watch some other battles here. This with John Timms trying to close in on Jared Haynes in the 4th spot. Heath Snyder running in 3rd. Further back in the picture, you see Ed Marshall closing in. Haynes pit at lap 44. It's a 14.5 second stop. It looks like he took tires, so he's going to be quick here compared to some of these other guys that did not. Seems that Haynes is the only one within the top 11 drivers. Top 12 drivers that took 4 tires. Everyone else appears to be on a fuel-only strategy, at least on this cycle. Going to be real curious to see how this one plays out here. And so far, no cautions, 58 laps in. The strategy for many of these drivers, though, they're banking on one caution somewhat late in the event where they can take advantage of that extra set of tires they've got sitting over the pit wall. As it stands, regardless, they're still going to need to make another stop before this one's over for fuel. Haynes starting to drive away from the 3 trucks that are in behind him. Again, tires being the key here. Last lap for Haynes was a 42.22. Now this time a 42.10. Leaders laps last lap, 42.60. So about a half second faster Haynes is running right now with the tires he's got underneath him. Personally, I know you want to just get out there and run and go. You're so much faster than the guys because you got that fresh set of tires, but you almost want to take care of them the best that you can here. Maybe just maintain that 4th position for a little bit. The way this race has played out so far, again, being caution-free, try to salvage what you can. Make them last as long as possible. Again, we don't know if Haynes has got an extra set over the pit wall still or not. Again, all these drivers, only 2 sets of tires over the pit wall to start the race tonight. Justin Johnson hits the pit lane. Justin back in the 19th spot. He was challenging up within that top 5 early on. Fuel only for the 10. That's a Roman numeral X for those of you that aren't sure what I meant by that. But it is indeed the 10 of Justin Johnson. Justin, one of the primary league admins here in the Lonestar Racing Truck Series, along with Drew Blaze and others. Johnson back on the track. And here comes Brandon Domain. He's caught the 5 of Watkins. The battle for the lead. Will it be much of a battle? The 13 up high. That start finish. Looks like Watkins is going to lead this one for now. See if Domain can get the run through 1 and 2 and carry it down the backstretch. Set up the pass for turn 3. Doesn't even need to wait that long. Watkins yields the position. Domain takes the top spot here as he gets into turn 3. Now Haynes with the fresh tires. He's going to challenge the 5, and I bet he's going to challenge Brandon Domain here before too long if he can get by Chris Watkins here in a hurry. He'll be in good shape. Tom in the stream chat, thanks for the kind words, man. He says, great production, Steve, like always. I really do appreciate that. I'm certainly my worst critic. I like to think I do a good job, but I got to hear it from you guys to believe it. Domain out in front, 3.5 tenths back to Watkins, then Haynes right on the back bumper of the 5. Watkins driving it way deep. Top 3 pretty tight together still. Domain not able to run away from the 5. Tires maybe starting to equalize between these two. Domain actually ran a 42.70 that last lap, a whole tenth slower than second place Chris Watkins. Starting to wonder if that really is the case. Domain with newer tires, though, at the end of their life cycle, or at least starting to get to that point where they're very similar as far as grip levels with Chris Watkins. Jared Haynes, kind of the same situation. We know he took tires at lap 44. Domain's pit stop at 48 was no tires, but maybe he took tires, I think, under that earlier caution. He had some grip, that's for sure. He was able to reel in the 5 in a hurry, make that pass with ease. As Jared Haynes, we talked about him, the suggestion that we made that unless he's listening to the broadcast, he certainly didn't hear. So I would just take care of my stuff at this point. Not worry about how much faster I am. Just take care of those tires and make them last as long as possible. And it seems like maybe, just maybe, he might have burned up his stuff a bit. So it was the top 3 here all together here a lap or 2 ago. And now Haynes starting to lose ground to the top 2 as Mitchell Howell hits pit lane. Howell comes to a stop in his pit stall, locks him up just a bit. Gonna change tires this time. Mitchell down and away, 14.9 seconds. 4 drivers coming down. Brandon Domain, one of them from the race lead. Chris Watkins goes back to the point. Jared Haynes at Marshall also coming down pit road. Now it's tough to say exactly, but we've got 33 laps to go. I don't think this is our last stop of the day. I think the final stop for those that are taking tires here, they're probably burning their last set at this point. Again, 2 sets for the whole race over the wall. It's going to be a splash and go on that last stop. Maybe not even a splash. We continue under the green flag here. Again, we've got plenty of racing left. We've seen some pit stops come as early as lap 17 tonight in the early portions of the race. I think lap 21, then we had a caution, so it's tough to say exactly what these drivers are getting for fuel economy as far as the lap count is concerned. So Watkins enjoying a 3.2, 3.3 second advantage over the 29 of Heath Snyder. RPMs drop significantly in mid-corner there. It almost sounds like they're coming to a stop. Justin Johnson closing in here. Justin may have taken tires. No, he took fuel only on his stop, but he is still closing in and try and get a lap back on his own. Johnson, the first car, 1 lap down. First truck, 1 lap down. If he get it back the old-fashioned way, that's great. It opens up the door for somebody else to get the lucky dog, provided the caution were to come out. We've only had one so far. I may have said we haven't had a caution yet, but it's really only because I didn't see what caused that caution. Neither did iRacing, for that matter. It was enough to throw the yellow, but there was no incident indicated by iRacing to show what the problem was. Nevertheless, been a very clean race. Got 30 laps to go here from Auto Club. Watkins still your leader as Andy Sizemore. The Iceman himself hits pit lane. Sizemore going to take rights and lefts. Drew Blaze making a run down pit lane with PJ Cox, Reed Sanders, Dominic Rossi. Oh, almost some contact with Jonathan Arnn. Blaze slides into the stall. It's going to be a fuel-only stop for Drew Blaze. 6.48 seconds of fuel, and that is all. The 4/11 of Rossi in the pits. Rossi, 14.78 seconds. Looks like he did opt for tires. Likely his final set for the day. Rossi 17th, one lap down. And I got to mention, guys, we are sitting on 599 subscribers here at HBR TV on the YouTube page. So check us out, youtube.com/@HBR TV and the number 1. If you're already watching the stream, that makes things so much easier because you can just go down and click that follow, subscribe, whatever button you got there. All of them. Like, follow, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. We got to get to that 600. We're at 599 right now. If you haven't already done it, we would certainly appreciate it. 600 is a cool number to be at. Of course, we want to go higher and higher, but it's one like, one follow, one share at a time. Certainly do appreciate it. Chris Goins into pit lane here. Let's make sure. Let's watch him because he slipped through the box the first 2 pit stops under the green flag. I didn't catch the yellow flag stop. See if he can get this one done right. Can't learn to do things right without making some mistakes. He's got part of it taken care of. Let's see if he can clean it up. Coming to pit road here right now, Chris Goins. And I don't know, maybe lap 75, he might make it to the end here if this is his final stop. I'm not sure if he can go a full 25 laps or so, but right side's in the air. That would tell me that this is going to be his last stop. 4 tires and fuel for Chris Goins. Goes without saying, he made it to the pit box without going too deep. Didn't have to back it up. Oh, but. And there's always a but. Chris Goins, too fast entering. 40-second penalty going to the 41. Just not been his night on pit road here tonight. Chris Goins with the pit road speeding penalty. Tough break. Meanwhile, Brandon Domain crosses the stripe as the new race leader once again. Snyder in the pits. Derek Welch in the pits. Chris Goins still in the pits. Hate to see it. Tough way to start the season. Goins was really fast early on. Got the 2-for-1 special to take the lead early on in the race, going by Drew Blaze, and I think it might have been Marshall as well. Either way, he's got some pace. He's going to be a contender this season. Just got to clean up the small stuff. Jessica Stubblefield says done. Does that mean we hit 600? I got to refresh all this. 24 laps to go here from Michigan. We're going to take a quick HBR TV side-by-side break now that green flag pit stops are complete. Stay with us. You won't miss a moment. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Auto Club Speedway, the 13 of Brandon Domain from the 10th spot to P1. 19 laps to go. He made his last pit stop, lap 67. He took tires and fuel. The ultimate question remains, does he have enough fuel to make it all the way to the end with a 65% maximum capacity on these tanks? He may still need to make a splash and go for fuel before this one's all said and done. So that running order at the top 10 could change significantly before this one's all said and done. But as it stands now, it's Brandon Domain, the 93 of Mitch Howell, Kevin Grettenberger. You've got the 77 of John Timms in fourth. Chris Watkins is fifth. Heath Snyder, he's got plenty of pace. He's sixth. Dominic Rossi is seventh. PJ Cox. Jared Haynes. Now Brian Shepard takes the ninth spot. Jared Haynes back to 10th. And there's some more pit stops underway. Ed Marshall, Ken Couch. Number 19 also making a pit stop. That's Randy Koching or Coaching. I'm going to have to figure out a pronunciation on that one. Usually the 19's Mike Fahey. I don't know if his work schedule is interfering with this, but we miss you, Mike. I don't know if you're watching out there in TV land, but come back soon, honey. We miss you. Ed Marshall, 4 tires and fuel. He's down and away. 14.82 seconds. Good stop for the 16. And this would be his final stop for sure. With 17 to go, he might have planned this entire thing to run backwards, almost like a road course. We've seen these tracks like Michigan and Auto Club, even Pocono, they kind of run like a road course. I know we're still on an oval, we're doing nothing but lefts, but strategy-wise, some of these guys kind of do it backwards. You're the first one to pit last kind of thing. And remember, Marshall was one of those first fast guys to come down pit road. As it stands, he's 19th. He's 1 lap down. Don't know how quickly this can cycle through, but he's made his bed. He's going to have to sleep in it. We'll see how it pans out the rest of the way, knowing that many drivers in front of him will still need to make one more stop for fuel before it's all said and done. Speaking of that, Mitchell Howell from the top 5, he's in the pits. As is Jonathan Arnn, he peels off turn 4. Arnn running in the 26th position. Whoa, a little too aggressive on exit. Howell almost spins the truck out. 9.02 seconds for Howell in the box. That's going to be fuel only for the number 93, enough to get him home to the finish. Brandon Domain hot through turns 1 and 2 already. 12.5 seconds on second place, Kevin Grettenberger. Man, oh man, I just don't know. I don't know what the pit window is at this point. I didn't get a chance to turn any laps myself at that fuel percentage, but Domain in a great position here. I can tell you this right now, though. If he does need to make a pit stop, he is praying for a caution. As it stands right now, there's only 12 cars still on the lead lap. I want to get a little bit off topic real quick here. I do have to go out and thank Jessica Stubblefield. Thank you for giving us our 600th follower here at HBR TV. Certainly do appreciate that. That's a milestone I never thought we'd get to, but I do appreciate it. Domain off the turn 4 into pit lane. His final stop of the day comes now with 13 laps to go. This is agony for the 13. Got to imagine it's going to be fuel only, unless, I don't know, if he's got an extra set, you might as well take it. You're there. No sense in leaving fresh tires on pit lane. If you can avoid it, put them on. It's only an extra, 5 seconds versus fuel only. You might as well at this point. I know 5 seconds under green is a lot, but if you leave pit road and all of a sudden the caution comes out, slapping yourself in the forehead. Fuel only for Domain, 8.88 seconds for the number 13 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. High by power, number 13. Domain's going to come out still in the top 10, but Kevin Grettenberger now your new race leader. In the Whataburger machine. I haven't been to a Whataburger in like 10 years. I live in upstate New York. I think there was one down in, Spring, Texas. Went to visit my father when he was down there near Houston. I think there was a Whataburger there. It was good, but nothing exciting. Sorry, Kevin. 11 laps to go. Now, Kevin Grettenberger, his last stop came in lap 72. So, even still, I I don't think anybody went that far on a full tank of fuel this afternoon. We'll have to see how long he can stick it out. We haven't really had any cautions to worry about. We've had one, and we don't even know what it was for. Never saw anything pop up there. But I just don't know if Grettenberger's got enough to make it to the finish. He still maintains a 5-second advantage over the 4/11 of Dominic Rossi as Reed Sanders hits pit lane. Sanders in the pits from P11. Grettenberger's actually stretching it out here. He's increased his lead by about half a second in just the last lap. PJ Cox tucking in behind Grettenberger. PJ running 14th. He's the first car one lap down currently. Trying to get his lap back the hard way. Looks like he's going to get it here. He's alongside down the backstretch, but it looks like Grettenberger might have had a better run. We'll see. PJ still to the inside here into turn number 3. Eight laps to go. Again, pit stops could mess this all up, and it does right now. Dominic Rossi from the second spot. He peels off for his final stop. So that's going to move the 5 of Chris Watkins up into P2. Sheer pace alone, Watkins will not catch Grettenberger, but again, we're still unsure if he's going to need to make a final stop here. Watkins' last stop was lap 73, Grettenberger lap 72. 20 laps to go. It's getting close to time. Real fast stop for Rossi, 8.3 seconds. Certainly fuel-only. Grettenberger's in the pits. Here he comes from the right race lead. Man, coming to 7 laps to go. That's just terrible. Not to minimize the race that he's had. Grettenberger having a strong run. Going to move Chris Watkins to the point, though, but with Grettenberger coming down and right now with 7 to go, I gotta imagine Watkins isn't going to be able to make it either. Battle's close right here for the top spot. Less than a tenth, really, between Watkins and Snyder. Snyder's last stop came at lap 75, so he's going to be close, too. Don't know if he's got the ability to save enough to the end. We'll see. Coming to 6 to go. Chris Watkins, that is, stays out on the racetrack for an additional lap. Remember, he pit just 1 lap later than Grettenberger. Sean Robertson is 66, trying to stay ahead of the race leaders. Timmy Stubblefield in the pits, the number 92. Snyder stays on the racetrack, but Chris Watkins peels off from the lead. So now it's the 29 of Snyder. Remember, let's go back to this. Snyder had his issue. Remember lap 1? We thought we had a caution before we even got our first lap in. We never got the yellow. Nobody really crashed, but Snyder was all sorts of crossed up on the start. Lost a ton of track position, fell back to the 20th position. See if he's got enough of the ability to save enough fuel to the end here. His stop came at lap 75, and Chris Watkins was the same story. He's not able to make it to the end. These guys are going to be dropping like flies, but Snyder, luckily for him, he's got 15 seconds plus to work with, allowing him to save a lot of fuel. Look at that lap time, 44.04 seconds. He's going to try and stretch it to the end. Jonathan Timms in the second spot, a 48.76. In fact, he loses the second spot to Derek Welch. You know Timms has got to be saving a boatload of fuel right now, trying to just inch this thing home. Almost some contact with Jonathan Arnn. Arnn goes up the racetrack. Snyder's thinking about it. He is way slow out of turn 4. I don't know. 3 laps to go for the 29. I don't know if he can do it. That's a lot of fuel to save. Derek Welch also on a similar strategy. He pit last at lap 75. He's got to save a ton of fuel. Next guy in line, P3, is Brandon Domain. He is good to go. His pit stop came at lap 88. Was fuel only, but he's got enough to go to the end. As long as they got her full. Welch in a little bit of traffic. He's still 12.5 seconds back. Let's ride on board with Derek. Listen to see how much fuel he's trying to save. Yeah, he's not even full throttle right now. Let's see if he clutches it down into turn number 1. Yep, there it is. Letting her coast. Brandon Domain taking the second spot away. Again, Domain, plenty of fuel. As soon as he gets into this next corner here, he's going to drive away from Derek. At the stripe, Snyder takes the white flag, last lap, and it was a 44.89 for Snyder. Can he make it around one more time? Domain 9 seconds back. He's got the pace, he's got the fuel, but does Snyder have enough? Is there enough Tiger in the tank for the number 29? Out of turn number 2, down the backstretch for the final time. He is just crawling down the back straightaway. Clutches it again, still an 8.1 second advantage. He's clutching it all the way through turns 3 and 4. Very slow out of turn 4. Checkered flag in the air for Heath Snyder. Barely running at the finish. No burnout for the 29. He crosses the stripe and he's going to win the Howell Graphics Auto Club 100. And it's out. It's out of fuel. Oh, he picks it back up. There's a couple of drops in there, but I don't know if he's going to make it back around for a burnout. We'll see. Chris Goins might be giving him a push here in just a minute. Yes, he is. What a race. I don't know, all the years I've been listening to Sirius XM NASCAR radio, people calling in complaining about fuel mileage races. Oh, they're boring, they're this, they're that. I love them. It's great to see a side-by-side door handle to door handle battle to the checkered flag, but man, I don't know. The strategy races get me too. This was a good one. Great way to start the season here. Only one caution, really clean race. Snyder running out of gas on the cool down. He went 5 extra laps compared to some of his competition that pit on the same lap as him. That's very impressive. With that, though, we're going to jump out, get our final break out of the way, get a word with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Auto Club Speedway, race 1, the Howell Graphics Auto Club 100 in the books. Heath Snyder not giving up. Started this race out in a bang, not a great way actually here. Got loose out of turn number 2, managed to stay off of everybody else, including the safer barrier. Slipped from the front row all the way back into the 20th spot and recouped, never gave up, now finds himself the winner here at Auto Club Speedway. Let's pull Heath Snyder up into the broadcast booth, get a word with our race winner, the driver, the number 29, Heath Snyder. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
Heath, congratulations, man. All I got to say is, wow, and in multiple levels. First and foremost, talk about that first lap. Way out of shape. I think it was out of turn number 2. You almost collected half the field, but somehow got out of there without any damage and continued straight down the racetrack. Walk us through it.
Yeah, that was a great way to start the season there, but I did not expect it to snap. I wasn't even full throttle, and it just went around, and I was like, all right, here we go.
Here we go is right. Everybody else behind you was like the same thing. Here we go. Managed to not make contact with your truck. You battled back slowly but surely. You went as far back as 20th. But here you are, victory lane here at Auto Club to start the season, man. Congratulations. What was the initial strategy coming into tonight? Was there one for starters? And did it change significantly after that first lap?
There really was not a strategy at all. Strategy didn't start until halfway through the race when I was like, this is probably going to go green, seeing how spaced out everybody is. And I just started taking the opportunity to start saving fuel right away.
Well, it certainly paid off. We had one caution. I still don't know what it was for, but nevertheless, the caution came out right after the pit cycle, so it really wasn't advantageous for much of everybody. It seemed like the whole field came down to top off the tanks. But let's talk about the fuel save here at the end of this race. You say you're saving fuel throughout the majority of the race, but you managed to go an extra 5 laps compared to the competition that pit on the same lap as you. How did you do it?
Well, I started saving shortly after lap 50. I think it might have been around 54 or 55. And I was clutching through most of the turn. I was shutting her off when I had the opportunity to on the straightaway as I was going quarter throttle. So we just took every opportunity to save every drop of gas we could.
Well, you did a good job with it. You come home with the checkered flag, so congratulations. We want to talk about next week, of course. We're going to go from Auto Club to the old Atlanta Motor Speedway. Of course, that place is going to burn up tires 10 times worse than Auto Club. How do you feel about your shot next week?
I'm a pretty big fan of old Atlanta and new Atlanta. I actually got one of my biggest wins at the old one when I won a Road to Pro race there, so I'm looking forward to going back.
Well, very cool. Heath, again, congratulations on the race win here tonight. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Well, got to give a shout out to you guys. I'm looking forward to going back and rewatching the stream to see all your calls and everything, but got to give a shout out to the boys back at Hyperforce Esports, Don Wheaton on the hood, Bruzy, Grid Vision, Custom Paints and Diecast, and then also Team Watson Racing Setups.
All right, Heath. Well, again, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
Heath Snyder, your race winner here at Auto Club. A job well done. Slowly but surely, just had a plan, was quick to make an adjustment after that first lap, and continued on. Saved enough fuel to make it to the finish here at Auto Club. A job well done. Next up, Brandon Domain, a familiar name. We'll pull him up into the HBR TV booth. Brandon, it's Steve in the booth. You got us?
Hey, I got you. How's it going?
We're doing well, sir. Good to talk to you once again here in a top 3 fashion. Not so much a win, but either way, a top 3 to start the season is a good way to start it off, man. Talk about your race, strategies that you had to employ, and well, how'd it work out for you? You were the only guy that didn't need to worry about fuel at the end there.
Yeah, you know, it was interesting. I kind of, at first I was a little frustrated looking at 2 tire sets and the short fuel runs, and honestly, in the end, it really led to some good strategy there, and I tried to be a little different. I don't think many went tires on the first one. Plan was going to be just to kind of go 40 and 40 on those last 2 runs on the tires, but that caution kind of threw a wrench into it, and it was just trying to time it and maximize the life on that final set of tires as best as I can, and could not plan on Heath doing what he did, stretching it that long, and thought I was in a great spot, and he proved me wrong on that one. So that was impressive on him, and I'll happily take the second there.
Well, as it is, he ran out going into turn 1 on the cool-down lap. Had to have Chris Goins push him back to the front straightaway. And on top of that, I don't know if you saw it or not on lap 1, he almost threw the whole race away. Had that thing crossed up in front of the whole field and managed to get through it without any damage.
Yeah, I mean, I was only a couple rows behind that when that happened, and was almost joining him on that one. It was just kind of guessing the right way and trying to read him as best as I could, and luckily went the right direction. But yeah, I mean, it was an interesting race. I saw the chaos there on that first lap, how everybody was getting all wide, and it's Auto Club. You can go 5 wide here pretty easily, and I thought, all right, we might see some cautions, and then it kind of stretched out that little bit. So, really a good race, great way to start the season, and really excited to see how the rest of it plays out.
Auto Club being as wide as it is, we remember the Ghostbusters saying don't cross the streams. Well, here it's don't cross the seams. You got to be careful how you do that. If you do a good job in keeping that thing lined up and not on those seams, you can certainly use a lot of this racetrack. You guys did a great job of that tonight. Things change up a little bit here next week. We go to the old school Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we talk to Heath about tire conservation out there, more so that than fuel. How do you feel about your chances next week?
You know, I like it a lot more than if it was the new Atlanta, that's for sure, where you just don't know what you're going to get a lot of the time. But I think this was a good kind of test on it, especially with the limited tire sets. I think everybody's going to kind of get some work on having to conserve those tires a bit. It isn't as noticeable here as it will be next week, but I think that was a good tune-up for it, and hopefully can kind of get a similar result there next week.
Well, Brandon, certainly wish you the best of luck next week at Atlanta. We're going to let you go, man, but who do you want to shout out to?
I mean, I'll just say the league and to you and everybody that's involved in getting this up. I've got the little Chandler Smith paint scheme. I don't have any sponsors or anything. I kind of like it that way, and just having fun with it and enjoying everything, and happy to be in a league that's run as well as this one and puts on as good of a show as it does, and that's with you included there. So appreciate everybody for putting this league together and making it really well.
Well, thanks for the kind words there, Brandon. Yes, LSR certainly does run a tight ship. They do a good job with it. Again, this is our third truck season, so excited to be here for it and looking forward to many more races this season. Okay, congratulations on P2, man. Good luck next week.
Absolutely appreciate it.
It's Brandon Domain, your P2 finisher here at Auto Club. Next, we're going to pull Justin Johnson, driver of the 10, into the broadcast booth. Justin, it's Steve in the booth. You got us? Justin Johnson, Steve in the broadcast booth. You with us?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Justin, congratulations, man. You did not give up here tonight. Brought this thing back into a top 3 finish. Walk us through it.
Honestly, man, luck. Because I'm not very good with these pit strategy things, and I knew we were going to have to take a short pit sometime or another, and I was talking to Drew, and I was like, what should I do? And he even didn't know. He said, at this point, everybody out here is gambling, so I was like, you know what, let's just go in. I went in way before everybody else. It took 4 instead of 2, and it worked out.
It really did. I mean, Drew Blaze, I think, took right sides only. He finishes P4. You finish ahead of Drew, so that's a bonus for you.
Yes, sir. That don't happen very often, and I was trying to work with him and draft and see if it would help either one of us try to get up there a little bit, and I just kept noticing that I was faster than him, and I was like, I've got to go so I can try to catch these guys if they run out of fuel.
Tires certainly seem to make a huge difference here at Michigan, and it seems like that's probably going to be the same story next week at the old Atlanta. You guys are sadists bringing the trucks out there next week. It's going to be a fun one to watch, but how do you feel about your chances?
Honestly, man, I'll be honest. If this league continues like tonight, like we just saw tonight, this could end up being one of the best seasons of the truck series we've had. That was awesome. Just one caution, the way we changed up the laps and changed up the tires to force more strategy instead of just balls to the wall racing, get tires, go back out, do it again. Now you got to kind of pick and choose when you want to take your tires, how can you save them, and in like tonight's case, can you save enough fuel? Hats off to Heath, because I don't know how he did it. Pitting on 76 and saved enough fuel. I pitted on 80 and I only had 0.7 left. So I think we're going to see a lot of pit strategies this season, and I really like it.
Well, so far it's been an exciting race one for sure. We look forward to how it pans out next week at Atlanta. Justin, again, congratulations. A solid top 3 to start this season. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Oh, there's a long list, man. First and foremost, let me thank all of my teammates over at Lonestar Racing that, helped me put these shows on and put these leagues on and try to make the best possible league that we can for everybody out there. My wife, got to thank her. She deals with the kids a lot to allow me to be able to do this stuff. Let's give a shout out to Nueva Designs. He does a lot of wraps. We got Fahey Race Wraps out there. Drew Blaze, man, hats off to him. Thanks to him. He helps me out a lot with different strategies and whatnot, things that I should probably be focusing on. He helps me a lot. Can't thank him enough. All these new guys that we've got coming in, we've got some guys from the NCRL coming over here and racing with us. Thank those guys for joining us and giving some more drivers out here. Especially thanks to you and HBR TV, man, for broadcasting these things for us in and out week after week, man. Y'all do an exceptionally great job, and we just look forward to doing some more.
Well, we're looking forward to more for sure. We're glad to be here for season 3 and, well, for whatever else approaches us in the future. I appreciate you having us here, man.
I appreciate you too, buddy.
All right, well, good talking to you. Good luck next week in Atlanta, Justin.
Thank you, sir.
Justin Johnson, your third place finisher here at Auto Club Speedway. A solid run to start the season for the driver of the X/10. Always got to run that Roman numeral X. With that said, let's take a look at our official race results. Heath Snyder, of course, we talked to. Your race winner, Brandon Domain P2. Justin Johnson finishes in the 3rd position. 4th goes to Drew Blaze. Kevin Grettenberger finishes in the 5th spot. 6th goes to PJ Cox. Ed Marshall was 7th. Chris Watkins finishes in the 8th position. Mitch Howell, 9th. Brian Shepard was 10th. Dominic Rossi in the 4/11. He was 11th. 12th goes to Andy Sizemore, the Iceman himself. Ken Couch, 13th. 14th goes to Jared Hines. Derek Welch up in that top 3 with just a lap or 2 to go. I don't know if he had to pit or ran out of fuel, but he finishes in the 15th spot. John Timms finishes 16th. Reed Sanders, 17th. 18th finisher, that's Chris Goins. Again, tough break for Goins. Couple of issues on pit lane, missing the box a couple of times, and then a pit road speeding penalty relegates him to 18th, a lap down. Certainly not indicative of the performance that we saw out of him early on tonight. Sean Roberts was 19th. Ken Blackburn was 20th. Chris Klein finishes 21st. Randy Coaching, I'm going to go with that until somebody tells me different, was 22nd. Timmy Stubblefield was 23rd. Got to thank Jessica once again for being our 600th follower here at HBR TV. Really do appreciate that. Scott Beardmore was 24th. Jonathan Arn, 25th. Tim Tokarski was 26th. And Kyle Morrison, last but not least, in 27th, 78 laps down. Got to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Of course, if you haven't already checked out the website, this is relatively new for us, hbrtv1.com. You've got the ability to find the live for tonight's race. That'll be posted. Well, we're going to try and post it every week. We sometimes forget because we have day jobs as well. But nevertheless, you can find it there. There's going to be post-race pictures. I've also got a channel in there now for you painters for iRacing out there looking for logos. It's not a real big catalog yet. It's only a few on one particular paint that I've just put through, but there's a channel in there that you can click and find some somewhat hard to find logos as far as what you may use in any of your iRacing paint. So feel free to use that. If you have some hard to find logos that you have found or used on your iRacing paints, feel free to message me in Discord. Let me know, send them to me, and I'll put them up there as well. I'd just love to add to that catalog. There's no subscription fees or anything like that, just helping other painters out, trying to find those hard to find or poor quality logos that you may find out there in the land of Google. So check it out. We do appreciate it. And of course, once again, we do all of our streaming primarily on the YouTube side. So that's youtube.com/@HBRTV and the number 1. Give us a like, follow, a share, subscribe. Of course, turn that little bell icon, click it, get the notifications going so you don't miss a minute of the action. You don't forget about the race, and if you do forget, you get the notification on your phone or wherever you're watching the races on, so you remember to tune in each week. Thanks for joining us, everybody. That's our last race of the week. Make sure to tune in next Monday night for the iRock Challenge Series here at HBR TV. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you next week.